Yes, once again, revolutionary greetings, comrades, and thanks you for joining us today. This is Socialism Study Class, and today we are meeting here to discuss about the liberation of Africa. This is actually the after session to discuss on the way forward in regards to the unification, especially the liberation of Africa. So thank you very much for joining us today. And I will go straight to actually just play this important video that will then form the basis of our discussion. As per today, we'll be discussing what's the best way forward. What are the plans are we putting in place for a way forward towards the liberation of Africa? So I'll play this video. Let's listen to it for 10 minutes. Then from there, we can pick on some few things, then come back and start the conversation on what's the way forward. Thank you.
But West Africa, what are we looking for Africa? Are we looking for mere charters conceived in the light of the United Nations example? A type of United Nations organization whose decisions are framed on the basis of resolutions that in our experience have sometimes been ignored by member states, where groupings are formed and pressure developed in accordance with the interests of the groups concerned? Or is it intended that Africa should be turned into a loose organization of states on the model of the organization of the American states, in which the weaker states within it can be at the mercy of the stronger or more powerful ones politically and economically, and all at the mercy of some powerful outside nation or group of nations? Your Excellencies, is this the kind of association we want for ourselves in the United Africa we all speak of with such feeling and emotion? Your Excellencies, permit me to ask, is this the kind of framework we desire for a united Africa? An arrangement which in future would permit Ghana or Nigeria or the Sudan or Liberia or Egypt or Ethiopia, for example, to use pressure with either superior economic or political influence gives to decide the flow and direction of trade, say from Burundi or Togo or Nyasaland to Mozambique and Madagascar. We all want a united Africa. United not only in our concept of what unity connotes, but united in our common desire to move forward together in dealing with all the problems that can best be solved only on a continental basis. So, when the first Congress of the United States, met many years ago at Philadelphia, one of the delegates sounded the first chord of unity by declaring that they had met in a state of nature. In other words, they were not in Philadelphia as Virginians or Pennsylvanians, but simply as Americans. This reference to themselves as Americans was in those days a new and strange experience. But may I dare to assert, equally on this occasion, Your Excellencies, that we meet here today not as Ghanaians, Guineans, Egyptians, Algerians, Moroccans, Malians, Liberians, Congolese, or Nigerians, but as Africans. Africans united in our resolve to remain here until we have agreed on the basic principles of a new compact of unity among ourselves, with guarantees for us and our future, a new arrangement for continental government. If we if we succeed in establishing a new set of principles as the basis of a new charter or statute for the establishment of a continental unit of Africa and the creation of social and political progress for our people, then, in my view, this conference should mark the end of our various groupings and regional blocs. But if we fail and let this grand and historic opportunity slip by, then we shall give way to greater dissension and division among us, for which the people, the masses of the people of Africa, will never forgive us. And the popular and progressive forces and movements within Africa will condemn us surely. I'm sure, therefore, that we shall not fail them. Your Excellencies, I have spoken at length because it is necessary for us all to explain not only to one another present here, but also to our people who have instructed us the fate and destiny of the African continent. We must therefore not leave this place until we have set up an effective machinery for achieving African unity. To this end, I now propose for your consideration the following. As a step, Your Excellencies, a declaration of principles uniting and binding us together, and to which we must all faithfully and loyally adhere, and laying the foundation of unity should be set down. And there should also be a formal declaration that all the independent African states here and now agree to the establishment of a union of African states. A second, an urgent step for the realization of the unification of Africa. An All-Africa Committee of Foreign Ministers be set up now, and that before we rise from this conference, a date should be fixed for them to meet. This committee should establish, on behalf of the heads of our governments, a permanent body of officials and experts to work out a machinery for the Union Government of Africa. This body of officials and experts should be made up of one or two of the best brains from each of the independent African states. The various charters of the adjacent groupings and other relevant documents could also be submitted to this official expert, working under the hegemony of a committee of the foreign ministers. And a presidium consisting of the heads of government of the independent African states should be called upon to meet and adopt a constitution and other recommendations which will launch the government of Africa. We must also decide on a location where this body of officials and experts will work as the new headquarters or capital of our union government. Some central place in Africa might be the fairest suggestion. From my view, either at Bangui in the Central African Republic or in Libreville in the Congo. All the officials that will go there, and we shall support their work. My colleagues may have other proposals. The Committee of Foreign Ministers, officials and experts should be empowered, but we have no time.
The time is now.
One, a commission to frame a constitution for the Union Government of African States. Two, a commission to work out a continent-wide plan for the united economic and industrial program for Africa. This plan should include for setting up a common market for Africa, an African currency, African monetary zone, an African central bank, a continental communication system. Third, a commission to draw up details for common foreign policy and diplomacy. A commission to produce plans for a common system of defense. A commission to make proposals for a common African citizenship. These commissions will report to the Committee of Foreign Ministers, who should in turn submit within 6 months of the conference their recommendation to the Presidium.
So welcome, everyone.
Welcome, comrades, once again, and thank you for your attendance today. Welcome, Brother Kwame. Welcome, everybody else. We had started our session indeed, but we decided to have a look back on what Nkrumah actually proposed and what suggestion he was putting forward towards the unification of Africa, which actually resonates with what we discuss and what we look forward to discuss today. And that's why we played that session for the last 10 minutes. So feel most welcome, and Brother Kwame, Kelly, take it over.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Pigeon. So thank you all for coming to our third and session post African Liberation Day celebration. This is our third session, and as Brother Pigeon has explained, the purpose of today is to come to a form of agreement on what we think the content of action should be. So welcome, all those who are here, Brother Pigeon yourself, Sister Ida, Brother Mankuyo, Sister Pamela, Kabbalah, Set Shiweo, Angela, Sister Tapua, Brother Mafole, Sister, Brother Sefiwe, Baleka, Brother Ras, Brother Simon, and Sister Myra. Thank you for coming, even though not too many of us meet like these on Thursdays and Saturdays. Thousands are watching our YouTube channel and learning and getting to know what it is we discuss. So you are part of something really positive that is happening across the world. So thank you for coming. Yes, so we will discuss today what it is that we want to do. I would suggest that you feel free to put in the chat what ideas you have, because if you put it in the chat, it helps us and helps Brother Pigeon to bring them all together as a set of actions that we can take. And we hope to form a set of working committees to deal with the actions that we agree on, and all of us have a right to join whichever working committee that we feel we want to join. It's about sharing out the work of what needs to be done. So yeah, so thank you for being here. I think that we can open the floor straight away. We normally deal with the news, but we will continue with that next week, Saturday. So let's proceed straight away with discussions on what we think ought to be done. I would ask Brother Pigeon, if it's okay with him, to summarize for us the 6 areas that we discuss and our conclusion on whether we have been liberated or not. Brother Pigeon?
Thank you so much, Brother Kwame. Hope you can hear me loud.
Yep, we can indeed.
Thank you very much. Once again, allow me to say that feel most welcome, all comrades who have joined us. We, as a CSG, decided to approach Afrika Liberation Day in a different dimension, on checking the liberation of Africa or assessing the liberation of Africa, not as a conference for talks, but rather to look deep into various sectors and functions that actually affect us as a people. And we took that approach in order to assess those key areas in order to understand whether it's true that we have been liberated or not. So we went through, in the first day, that was on Thursday 23rd, we looked at our education system, where we got actually comparative analysis and also presentations in regards to our education setup. So we actually looked at various aspects, as you say. We checked on the traditional African education system and the current one, And we realize that the African education system is still not yet liberated. It's still influenced a lot by the Western influences and actually controlled a lot by also Western systems and thinking. We went extra mile to look at the health system of Africa. And it was very clear also out of that analysis that our health system is not yet liberated, is not yet pan-Africanized, or we can say sovereign enough. We still depend enough on either the production of medicine and everything else from the West, and therefore we do not have enough solidarity, independence, or even liberation in our own health system. That is including even aspect of our traditional medicine systems or our hubs. We went extra mile to check at our economics, and it's also very clear that our economics is not yet liberated. We still depend much on the loans, aids, and everything else from the West, using their currency, competing dollars and whatever. So it also was very clear that our economic system is not yet liberated, and we compare also with the traditional economic systems. On the second day, we actually checked on three aspects, and that was on our military basis. We looked at, is our military yet united, liberated, and independent enough? And really, it's not still the same. We checked on our military muscles, which sometimes I presented on that, and realized that Africa has almost the majority in terms of military manpower across the world if it unites, with Egypt leading with 1.3 million military power. But still, even those military systems are still either controlled by the West. We still have so many military bases in Africa here that are actually not for Africa, but foreign systems. We then went extra mile to check at our religion and spirituality. And still, it was very clear again that our religious systems are still, or spirituality is not yet practiced. The so-called Black African spirituality or traditional spirituality or African religion is not yet practiced. We are still actually engulfed in this aspect of the Western or the foreign religious system that is then controlling or dictating how we function. And this is very interesting as we, as a CSG class, is actually checking on the aspect of the Greek society when we are trying to look at the roles of the religious leaders in Greek society, where we are at the consciousness class on Thursdays. Then we looked last part on our politics, and it was also still clear. Our politicians and our politics is still Western much influenced. And therefore, all those 6 sectors that you looked at was very clear that they are not yet liberated. So that's what we analyze. Thank you. Back to you, Brother Kwame.
Yeah, thank you very much, brother, for sharing with us our conclusions. Our conclusion, not that it surprised us, was that we haven't been liberated. And yet we're celebrating African Liberation Day. So let's proceed to discuss. So 2 things. As I said, the chat is open for you to share your action point. So share that in there. And so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that of the 6 areas that we shared, feel free to discuss whichever area you like. So if you want to speak on what you think should be done in all 6 areas, please say so. If you want to speak on just one, please say so and do so. We will be hearing everyone because we don't believe in coming to a meeting and not talking. In our classes, everybody gets to talk because we want you to share that jewel that is inside you with us. We don't believe in people coming to meetings. They just listen and listen and listen. They don't say anything. And then they listen to what all of us have to say, then they go away and they don't contribute to anything. Of course, we love the fact that you are here and your presence is here with us. That's great. But better even if you share your thinking with us as to what you think should be done. In the African culture, when we meet in the town hall, even children are allowed to speak their minds because we believe that children in our midst can be elders reborn as children to grow again. So no need to raise your hand. I'll call everyone. I'll chair it for a while, and then Brother PG wants to chair it. Maybe we'll take it half an hour each in time so that it's not one person's voice that is heard throughout. The other thing also is that we are looking for sisters to chair. I don't think it is right for just Brother Pigeon and I to be chairing all the time because people tend to hear the male voice. We want to hear the female voice. It's for balance. Yeah, no choir will sing well if it only has bass per se bass, the bass voice. It has to have bass, have tenor, alto, and so it has to come together for the music to be beautiful. So sisters, I said this last week, none of you have come forward. I'm calling out to you again. Otherwise, I'm nominating people to be chairs, whether they like it or not. Anyway, all right. So thank you very much. So let's start with, shall we start with a sister first? And then we'll go to a brother. So we go sister, brother, so that we get balance. Yeah. So what should we do? Let's see. I'd like to start with our own sister Myra. Oh, by the way, if you don't want to speak straight away, feel free to say pass, and then we'll come back to you. Of course, you don't have to speak if you don't want to, but we really love it if you can speak. Thank you. So, Sister Myra, are you able to start for us, please?
Thank you, Brother Kwame.
Thank you.
My contribution is going to be about education because I've always been passionate about that. So I'm aware that CSG is doing some research around Pan-African syllabus and also creating a course around consensus. But I want to share with comrades something from a thinker from Uganda called Dani Wadada Nabodere. He was a great thinker, and his main area was political economy. And he wrote that one way of overcoming imperialism is by building institutions of learning that are community-based and which work with the existing communities. So we build communities around these learning centers. And in these learning sectors, he suggested two pillars. One, to research the knowledge and wisdom that we once had and how to bring it into this modern age and how it can help us, right? And the other one was to have a campus, like a university. So it's all community-based. We're researching our knowledges and our wisdoms, and then we are also integrating with communities around us. So I'll just put forward a proposal that we push forward with the educational research that's already been done, and maybe I'll be willing, I'll be happy to sit on the committee. I've already offered to do some research and then find a way to, I don't know, share it out or and then think about start thinking about how to have something on the ground. But I also proposed again, Brother Kwame and Brother Pigeon, how we can monetize. The one way to monetize would be to create courses that people can pay for. Because to do this project, we need projects. These committees have to, in the end, put projects on the ground, but we need money. We need funding. So education could be one way of raising funds. So that's really my communication. I liked his idea because his thinking was, if we change minds and teach them about our philosophies, including Nkrumahism, then that's one way of starting the journey of overthrowing neocolonialism, imperialism. So that's my submission. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Sister Myra has suggested some areas, suggested things that can be done in education. And Sister Myra has also, if you like, volunteered to be on the education working committee. Yeah, so we're going to go to the next person. That'll be a male. Yes, Brother Pigeon.
I also request, as much as I'm doing the recording also and you're doing the same, I request that once the speaker is done, they can also go to the chat and list the proposal from their side. It will be very easier for us to capture them from how they say it. So in the chat, once they speak, at least they can write something so that I can capture that.
Okay, excellent. Also, could you, if it's possible, you can do that. Can you initiate the the caption so that we can also capture the text. So whatever they are saying can also be captured as text. So that also helps if you're able to do that. I'm addressing Brother Joseph now from the waiting room. So yeah, so we're going to move to the next speaker. But can I thank Sister Myra for drawing to our attention one of the most critical points for the left. And by the left here, we mean the political left or the ideological left or the economic left, however you want to put it. So the left for us are the group of Africans who believe that the welfare of the African people is the supreme law and that the resources of Africa must first, above all else, be used for the benefit of all Africans, not one African, whether a monarch or however you want to describe that person, and their immediate family. Wives being thrown abroad to have children or to deliver, and then other women are left without antenatal care, postnatal care, and then some die in the process, and so on. And then it's not for the benefit of a small minority, as liberals believe, but for all of us. So, and Sister Mara has drawn our attention to the question of money. And that's the problem with the left. The left always struggling with how to get money. Those in the middle and the right always have access to money, but somehow those who believe and have the heart, the best, who have the best heart for the continent, who want the best for the continent, we are always struggling with money. We don't seem to be able to get money to do the work that needs to be done. And so the whole Pan-African project, I mean, if you look at it, it's not much is happening because the left don't have the money. And those on the right have all the money and all the resources, and they have pro-imperialist forces supporting them and giving them money. So, Sister Amara, thank you for drawing our attention to monetization and the need for us to raise funds to do our work. So thank you for that. Let's go to, as I said, a male voice. So let's hear Brother Mankuyo, please. Thank you. Brother Mankuyo, what must be done? I'll try not to talk too much because we want to hear more from you. So I'm going to cut down on my comments and so on. Yeah, Brother Mankuyo, are you able to speak? Unmute yourself. If not, I'll come back to you later. So let's go to Brother Kabbalah then. Brother Mankuyo. Yeah, Brother Mankuyo has unmuted. So Brother Kabbalah, can you hold on, please? Yes, Brother Mankuyo.
Yeah, revolutionary greetings and revolutionary salutation to you all. So this is Comrade
Same
Mankuyo.
to you, sir.
Yeah, so basically what I think we can do about, because we have been always theorizing, the problem with us, we have been always theorizing. So I think it is now time for us to develop something substantial or something practically than theorizing. We have been focusing on theory. So basically, as what our brothers have just said, Comrade Kwame, there are Africa resources and Africa and everything in Africa should first benefit the Africa people. So basically, as well as we have been talking about the history of Africa, as well, we should bring something substantial about the history of Africa and execute something about the same history that we have been talking about. So because I'm in a noisy place, just came out, just following, and I'll just contribute to where necessary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So Brother Mankuyo is suggesting that we do something on history, and let me take the opportunity to remind us that there are, in that sense, there are three types of Pan-Africanists: those who tend to focus on the past and the history of Africa, where we've come from, the great civilizations of the past, like the Zimbabwe Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Songa Empire, the Kush Empire, the Egyptian Empire, and so on. So it's the past, and then those who focus on the present, and they draw our attention more to what is happening now. And then there are the Pan-Africanists who want to focus more on the future. So there is the past, present, and the future. So I think what this meeting is about is, in as much as we recall the past and what's happening in the present, what we are saying is that what should we do to shape the future? So bear that in mind. So Brother Mankuyo, thanks for reminding us that the history of Africa and where we've come from is very important. Now let's go to a sister, please. Sister Tapua. Thank you.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Sister Tapua.
Yes, I tend to want to be very practical. You know, practical as in really go out there and do something.
Yeah, today is a practical day.
And-
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And I was looking at some of the strategies that were used to subjugate us. Because if we're thinking about an education roadmap towards African liberation, we need to agree first about where we are. What is it that we see on the ground that's telling us that we are not liberated, particularly in the education sector?
Yes, Sister Tapua, before you continue, let me just quickly say that so Brother Pigeon summarized for us where we are, and we've looked at 6 areas, and we have seen where we are. We've looked at them over the last 2 weeks. Brother Taiwo, if you recall, started it all for us with ethnic fractionalization. So we know where we are. So today is about, like you said, practicals. What should we do in order to move forward? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Because my presentation is based on needs analysis. In other words, we want to look at practically where we are in our education system. So I'm saying, for example, that the education system that we have does not serve our purpose. What are we going to do about it? We need to make sure that we have within the education systems that are there, leaning towards Ubuntu. And what is it going to look like? In other words, we're saying, for example, that we could have people who advocate and review texts used in schools and classes to raise pupil self-esteem, so that we are seen as leaders in restructuring and designing the curricula. That's one thing that we could easily do, because it's a matter of getting textbooks, looking at what's being used in the schools in the different countries, different areas, and see where we can add in some information. And then we can also work with teachers who are Pan-Africanists and bring them together so that we discuss how, in educating our children with or at whatever level, with the information that we have on the ground or the curricula that's there on the ground, how can they induce Pan-Africanist ideas into the curricula? So we're already looking at resources that are there. We've got teachers, we've got legal people, we've got all sorts of people with skills who can sit and say, oh, if you're going to be teaching children this subject, could we look at it this way? And then the teachers who are maybe in a conference or whatever it is we decide to hold will be able to make suggestions about how to do that. I'm also looking at Pan-Africanism at in cultural activities, because there's so much that's going on around us in terms of culture. We look at events and we just look and analyze and say, all right, that's what they're doing. But we need to get actively involved in what's going on around us. So that, for example, if a committee is set up, it could even be a church. Is there something that we can do to make sure that our people are enlightened about their history, about their culture? Because when the strategy that was used on us, it was to make sure that we are totally alienated from our own. Now what we're doing is making sure that we infuse activities that highlight. I'm also thinking of the use of media to raise self-awareness and appreciation of all that is African. Just getting programs on TV, on radio, in the social media, actually strategizing and saying, because my main idea is to establish an African hub to facilitate Pan-African education amongst the people. So if people who are in charge of the education hub can then say, this month we're producing leaflets, or we're just inundating social media with a certain type of view, then we start motivating people and just making sure that the orientation in terms of thought that people have is what we want them to have. So that when we call for a conference, it's going to be the people who are going to say, we need a conference, we need to talk about this. And then particularly because we're trying to work towards Africans not looking at themselves as different countries, we need to have activities. I think one of the brothers from I can't remember whether it's Dominican Republic last time, was saying we need to have sports, in inter-country sports, so that we break down the barriers. Because for some reason, we think, for example, that Zimbabweans have no relationship with Mozambicans or Sotos or Swaziland or South Africa. But the more we get people to see the relationship, to feel the relationship, then we can get somewhere. This is taking advantage of existing institutions that are there already. You've got ministries of sport, you've got others. So it's just tweaking the perspective so that whatever is happening in the different governments and the different schools that we have, there is that element. And I know we have members who are Pan-Africanists who are within those institutions. It's getting them and then making sure that our voice is heard. I think I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
Sister Tapua, very fertile. You're a fertile lady, just like Sister Mara.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've suggested a few things there. So if you'd like to, we ask Sister Mara also to put in the chat the key points you've made, so that when we come to typing it up, it's easier for us. Yeah. So it sounds like you want to be part of the education subcommittee. Is that correct?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Right. So we've got two education. We've got one history of Africa. There are 6 areas. So there is education. Then there is economics. There is military. There's African politics. Brother Pigeon, well, which are the rest? Education, economics, military, African politics, health and
spirituality.
Yeah.
Or religion.
Yeah, we might want to set up our own church, the African Church of Christ, something like that, and start training ministers to go and preach the gospel of African liberation. Anyway, so thank you very much. So we've got education. We still have economics, military, African politics, health, and spirituality. I'll put history in all 6. Right. So the next person is so we've had a female voice. So the next person would be brother.
Could you do Brother Androla so we can take his hand down?
Brother Anjola, yeah. Brother Anjola, I've told Brother Anjola, no need for hand up. We'll call everyone. But anyway, yes, Brother Anjola.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Brother Anjola.
Good evening.
Yes.
It's good to be here. My apologies, I've been away for a while.
We've missed you. You didn't give us apologies that you wouldn't be with us. But
So,
as loving brothers and sisters, we forgive you, though.
thank you, sir. My network is very well. I understand, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to join the education and the economic committee.
Okay.
I wanted to also ask Brother Pippin, because I saw your picture on the picture of the activities you did and the proposal on website and the athletics group. I would also like to see if it's something that is duplicatable.
Brother Angela,
Yes,
slow down in your talking so that we can hear what you're saying.
okay.
It's not very clear. Yeah, go on. Slow down a bit for us. Thank you.
Okay, so I will start by saying that I wanted to ask Brother Pippin if I can replicate the replica design of pictures on the group that was created by Satish. If I can also get if there's a proposal design on IC, which is an indication of this. But my contribution is I think we need to focus more on the education system. We need to also remind people about the difference between culture, tradition, and system. And I think because it is something that affects every sector that has a specific sector that has been put. Because we need to know that there's semi-formal, there's informal, and there's formal. So it depends on the grain and on the type of people that you're dealing. Your style might not work with the next person. And what you don't understand is the next thing is not really going to follow the kind of process or protocol that you might have followed to be able to take on a particular activity. I think this is a call, maybe because there are education seminars that have been organized, but still the issue cannot be addressed. Because this is more like a sensitization where politicians have to be involved. Scrutinizing the political department of each level is a proper way to get people to raise their voice and understand the protocol of what people are really getting at different points in life. So I think both the educational sector, the political sector has to work in hand where the issue of security must be readdressed and people are taken down from different places. This will help people understand where people are and also how people want to progress at different stages, especially when we say we are addressing liberation in Africa. The education is really not there and people are really still failing to understand every single day. Because you might get the opportunity now, but the next moment you might not get the same opportunity. So, what kind of system are these people looking for to see in a particular person they want to give a certain opportunity? I think this is one thing we need to address. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Brother Angela, thank you for your presentation. I didn't quite catch everything you said. So if you could put in the chat what your suggestions are, that would be great. Yeah. Yes. As a bullet point, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. Yes.
Just for records, I've also not quickly understand what he was asking me of. So you can also put it on the chat so that I can respond.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. Yes, Brother Angela. Yeah, if you can contact Brother Pigeon directly through the chat. So he can understand. Excellent. Thank you very much. So let's now hear Sister. Sorry, Brother Angela, you were saying? Brother Angela, were you saying something? Okay, all right, you weren't. Okay, so let's go to Sister Ida, please. Thank you.
Sister Ida is almost busy, but
we heard you. We heard you.
yes. I'm really not sure which one I fall under, but I like what Sister Myra said about funding, because we never have enough funding, and I think that we need to have almost another heading which has funding to it.
So Sister Ida, shall we say that you're only part of the economics committee. Yeah,
You think funding comes under economics? Okay.
of course.
But you know, I'm not
The
really
economics is
an
all about money. No,
okay.
don't depreciate
Okay,
yourself.
I haven't said anything.
Don't
I haven't
depreciate
said
yourself.
anything. I haven't. I've managed
We
to keep
believe
quiet.
in you. We believe in you.
Okay, of course. Fine. I'll put my funding under economics.
Okay.
But I think they're all important. The spirituality one, I sometimes get lost on, but I'm not that I fully get lost on it, but you know, I'm not sure that action in the spirit. Anyway, we wait
But
to
you
see.
know
We
why
wait to
you
see.
get lost on the spirituality, don't
Yes,
you,
yes, of
Sister Ida?
course.
You
Yes,
know,
of
you have your
course, of
own
course.
belief.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, they hear others, others believe you and say, gosh, what are they talking about?
Oh no, 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 not
This
at all, not
this
at all.
is
I
the
do
right
listen.
way to heaven, this is the right
Uh,
way to
uh,
hell.
well, heaven is on earth, so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, well, that's your position. Yeah, that's the African position.
Okay,
There is no heaven anywhere. It's right on us here. Anyway,
perhaps to start here anyhow.
right. Thank
So
you,
I'm
Sister
not
Ida.
sure
Yeah.
about the others. I might come up with some, but
Yeah. Okay.
to me, that is one of the important things. Education is always important, but I love that so many people already wanted to discuss education. So
Yeah.
I leave it there. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, just so we all know, when Brother Pigeon sets up the working subcommittees on the WhatsApp groups, you are free to join whichever you like. You can join, certainly you can join more than one. But remember, it's a working committee. So you're not going to go there to talk. You're going there to work. Yeah. So don't take on more than you can do. Just like don't put more food in your mouth than you can chew. Yeah, put in your mouth what you think you can chew. Right. Okay. So let's. So we've heard from Sister Ida. Sister Ida wants to join the economics committee, and Sister Ida, hold on, Brother Pigeon, and Sister Ida, just want to focus on money or funding. Yeah. We'll come back to money much later, because money makes the world go round, as some people say. Yeah. It's not the root of all evil. Those who say that because they don't have it. If they have a lot of money, you will certainly not say it's the root of all evil. You'll be really grateful that you have so much so you can help out those who don't. Right. So we've heard from Saida. Brother Pigeon, please come in.
Yeah, I want to remind Sister Ida to keep doing what she's doing in the chat so that we can follow up on people to share their points. So thanks for that.
Okay, thank you. We've had Sister Ida. Now let's hear from Brother Sifiwe Baleka. Brother Sifiwe, aren't you the brother who chaired the Pan-African conference that was taking place in Togo also? Was it that you?
So greetings.
Yeah,
No,
greetings.
no,
but you chaired a meeting which we all attended. That was to
yes.
take place in Togo. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much. It's good to have
Let
you
me
here because
thank
remember,
you.
some of us would like to attend that conference when it does happen. Sometimes in November or so. So you can tell us more about it as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so let me reintroduce myself.
Yes, please.
My name is Sipiwe Baleka. I am attending I wear many different hats, but I'm attending in my capacity as head of research and strategy for the Pan-African Federalist Movement. The meeting that I think you are referring to is, at one time, Ambassador Erekana Chihombori Kwao was trying to organize a Pan-African Congress in Zimbabwe. And she appointed me to be the coordinator. And in 2003, we had a series of lots of Zoom meetings. We were having 400, 500, 600 people. And then she ran into a problem with the government of Zimbabwe, and it was canceled. So it was probably one of those town hall meetings that we first were introduced. And then I became aware of this group, and Pigeon had sent me information about an event. I don't remember what it was, but he asked me to speak on a few things, I think maybe reparations and something else. So I spoke at one of your events. And since then, I have not been participating in your study group sessions, but I'm aware of them. And I congratulate you on your consistency and commitment. As soon as I saw the invitation for a meeting where you're going to discuss praxis, like practical plans of, those are the kind of meetings that I want to sit in. I've been studying for decades, so whenever there's a group that wants to get into praxis, that's why I decided, let me attend, and mostly to listen to see where this particular group kind of is and what direction they're going. I do have a question that will help me kind of better understand these committees, and when you say, you know, going forward and what should we do, are these committees designed to answer the question for Pan-Africanism writ large? Like, what do we as all Pan-Africanists on the globe need to be doing? Or is this really, what does this CSG group need to be doing? Those are two different questions, obviously. And I guess because I am part of my responsibility in the PAFM for the West Africa region is to design strategies. First of all, the Pan-African Federalist Movement, it's based on the idea that political unification of the African states is the matter of utmost urgency. And that if we want to solve our economic problems, it's going to require some form of continental or larger sovereignty that the African Union doesn't have. If we want to solve our military problems, it's going to have to come from a sovereignty basis that is bigger than any individual nation state on the continent right now. So all of these things, health, military, economics, right, require sovereign power, which we have to build. And that is why the PAFM says our most utmost urgency is to bring about the political unification, some kind of African Federation of African States, something like that. So the PAFM is focused on how to do that. And our focus is basically sovereignty rests with the people themselves. And so ultimately, when the people are able to have referendums that give the current states the authority to mutualize their sovereignty into a political unification, then we will be able to solve these problems writ large. In terms of the various Pan-African groups that I network with, there are two issues that are the most practical, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you want to do. One, and it all comes under resources. One is human resources, the other are material resources. One of the most practical things that any Pan-African entity can do is create the database of Pan-African organizations, activists, leaders. Because we know there's strength in numbers, we need to coordinate what we're doing. And without a communications network that is dynamic and allows us to quickly send communications either writ large to everyone or to targeted specialists in areas, whether it's we need to coordinate a calendar so we're not duplicating events that cancel each other out. Many of the things that any organization wants to do is going to rely on what human resources. And to my knowledge to date, there is not a single omnibus existing Pan-African database that a group can consult. And that's a work that technically is easy to do. If you can get a group of 10 or 20 people with internet access, particularly students, and you give them assignment, go on the internet, type in Pan-African and then the name of a country, do your research on social media, and just put into an Excel spreadsheet every Pan-African organization or activist or leader or journalist that you can find and begin to build a country-specific database with contact information. That's my one practical suggestion. My other practical suggestion is every group is always talking about money. I have yet to see a Pan-African group devote their interests on developing a for-profit business that would finance its political and educational activities. I'll give you a great example. In my last visit to Zimbabwe, I spent a lot of time learning about the mining sector. And I found out that there are groups of Chinese, they organize themselves in families of 10. They each put up $30,000 for a total of $300,000. And $300,000 is enough for a turnkey mining project. Everybody is going into Africa, right, to get into mining, to get the resources to finance whatever they want to do outside of Africa. I have yet to see a Pan-African organization organize the initial capital to come in, do a mining project to fund its Pan-African movement work. So I would put that out there as something to really think about. What for-profit business can you get into that would provide significant profits that could be directed to all the other things you want to do? So that's my contribution, and I look forward to really listening and hearing the other things that people are thinking.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So you say Sipiwe. So thank you for correcting me. You've said a lot there that I think we will come back to you on, so we can tease out the way forward. I can answer some of them now, which is that we would not want to see ourselves apart from the wider Pan-Africanist movement. We would like to be part of the organized Pan-Africanist movement that is striving for political unification. That is something that we want to be part of. We have already started looking at what Pan-African organizations are already there. But Pigeon has started the research. We put out a registration form, and we've had about 32 organizations come back to us so far with their contact details and everything. So we don't know what we don't know if that is all of them. And we certainly haven't got a spread across the African continent. As you know, there is a dispute amongst Pan-Africans, some of them anyway, as to whether North Africa is part of us. Some say, no, let's leave them out. Others say, no, they are part of the Pan-African movement, the Pan-African struggle, and so on. So there is that. Certainly, that's something we can discuss and resolve on. My position, me personally, I mean, is that I take the Nkrumah route, and that is that North Africa should be part of the Pan-African movement and not just Sub-Saharan Africa. There will come a time when the precision of the equinoxes will make it such that the Sahara will be fertile again. It is dry now, but it will not remain dry over the 26,000 years that the Earth spins around. And when it does spin around, the Sahara will become fertile again, as it was in the past. So we are certainly not looking at just right now. So we think that the North Africa, or I think the North Africa should be part of it. Anyway, the other thing also I want to mention is the funding thing. Now that's very important. Again, we'll come back to you on that, because it is a case in fundraising that setting up for-profit organizations is one vehicle for raising funds. Some will see it as very important, but it's only just one vehicle. There are many vehicles for raising funds, and I am certainly personally interested in that project, a project where we set up a Pan-African unit whose main goal, whose main task is to raise funds. That's something that I am personally interested in, not because I am an economist, which I am, but also because I'm a mathematics teacher, which I am, and I am also a professional fundraiser. You know, the Institute of Fundraising. I belong to that institute. It's not something I talk about a lot. So I'm certainly interested in that. So I will come back to you on that. So to summarize, yes, thank you very much for your input. Yes, this meeting is about doing things. But please, Sifiwe, we want to also like you to know that Saturdays are actually the days for doing things. All our Saturday meetings really are about what do we do towards African unification. So that's really important. So it's not just Saturday, every Saturday. Thank you. It's 8:10. I'll ask Brother Pigeon to share the next half an hour, please. And however, Brother Pigeon, I'd like Sister Pamela to please, Sister Pamela to please speak next after Brother Sipiwe, and then you chair it from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Before Sister Pamela come in, permit me to elaborate a bit also some few things you've done. We have actually, as you've said, we've thought of the line of how to have a fundraising thing or a mechanism or a vehicle for all the activities of Pan-Africanism. And we are doing something on that. We have actually also discussed on doing research in regards to even the wealthy Africans or where they spend their resources or where they are or what is involved around them. So we also have some data of approachable people as a startup on where we can also seek funds, especially for Pan-Africanism. We've also done extra research apart from the forms that we provided for people who fill their form. We've looked at all unions, both the workers' union, teachers' union, all medical union, and all progressive political parties, both present and past, and you have a database of over 100 of them also together. So indeed, we've been preparing towards this action for some time behind the schedule because we knew and we know that we are action-oriented. We are thoughtful action. So thank you very much for that. And now permit me maybe to ask Sister Pamela now to come in. Thank you. Sister Pamela? Sister Pamela, if you're not in a position to speak.
Sorry, I thought I'd unmuted. Sorry. Yeah. I think this, for me, this whole list is, one runs into the other. So I don't actually, for example, to get anything done on there, health, which I would be particularly interested in, education, all of it, I'm saying the same thing as the other people have said about funding. I think before we can get anywhere, we need funding. We need money to get these things done. And I don't really see how you're going to be able to improve health without education, and how you're going to get the education done without the politics to put that into place. And another thing that I thought about was when we're talking about health and education, housing, home, shelter for people, what kind of shelter are they in, and in terms of their well-being, in terms of their health and education, how are we going to look at that? And again, I thought about community and getting people to work together for the better to get these things into place. I don't know. I don't belong to apart from GAC UK. I don't belong to any other political organizations. Yeah. So I just have to leave it there. Basically, I'm really up to my neck with stuff. So I wasn't particularly wanted to be on any committees, any more subcommittees. Yeah. But if I have to be on one, it will be health.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sister Pamela, for that. Let me go my list, check on... we have quite sisters of joining us today. Welcome, sisters. Brother Raspala. Raspala. Brother Ras? Okay. Brother Imani. Brother Imani?
Brother Pigeon?
Yes.
Brother Russ, as you know, doesn't speak very often, but I think he has in the past decided to donate for us land in South Africa to build our headquarters. So that is his contribution.
Yes. He said there's a land there. He has shown even the acreage.
I think he said we could visit. I don't know that he said we could have the land.
Yes, he said. Well. Yeah, he said he wanted to build a CSG headquarters there.
Oh yeah. But I thought that was just to get us visiting.
No, actually.
Wonderful brother that he is. Thank you.
Okay, Brother Imani. Brother Imani. Okay. I'm trying to look for the brothers before I move to the sisters. Brother the King Mauli. Brother the King Mauli. Okay. Since the brothers are not ready, let me go to Sister Shaza. The Z and the SH is always problematic in my language, but I'm trying to pronounce them well. Shaza, please, Sister Shaza. Oh. Am I really audible? Or the man will be getting me? Okay.
Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Okay, so silence might mean a pass. Advocate Mafole was here for so long. I think it was either first to join or second. Advocate Mafole, Elder, I know you're also running a program towards healing of our past, which is a very interesting program. I don't know where it would be checking on spirituality or the rest. But can you come in and also share with us what do you think is the way forward in the 6 areas we've discussed so far? Brother Mafole?
Good evening, comrades.
Good evening.
Yeah, I don't know, Chairperson, I've sent you a document that I would request you to share with the rest of our colleagues here. I would like to speak to it as a contribution, my contribution to the way forward. And having said that, I would like maybe to share just a slide so that I can contextualize properly, what people can contextualize properly what I'm talking about. I've sent you that document via WhatsApp.
Brother Mafole, let me check if I can get it. Is it in line with the 6 areas you're discussing?
It's because I'm actually talking about something else which I think is the foundation for the 6 areas. So maybe you could let me talk towards the end and have other people talk about the areas.
Okay, thank you. I'll also be checking. I'll share with Brother Kwame the document so that we can check the notes as we allow you to come in later and share.
Thank you.
Does Brother Mafole want us to share it on the screen here? Is that what he wants?
I think that's what he wants, so that he can speak about it.
Okay, maybe later when you call me in. Yeah.
So Brother Pigeon, send it to me and I will work on that.
Yeah, I'm sending it to you right away. So let me do that. Let me call on Sister Shireen. I know you've come in a bit late, but we are discussing the.
No, she didn't come in late. She came in very early. Yeah.
Okay. I think now you're okay. We've been discussing the 6 areas we've discussed before and what's the best way forward. That's what you're trying to present. From you, what do you think is the best way forward?
I think Brother Kwame is correct. Actually, I did come in quite late. I had to pick up my daughter from her dance class. But I do agree. Finance, as always, and finance is a very delicate subject because without liquidity, especially in this society, you know, with the dependency on technology, the dependency on keeping things going and stuff like that, I think what the brother previously said, I can't remember the brother's name, who came on about, you know, making an organization that will then, or a business, for example, that will be able to fund our other endeavors and stuff. But I can see that if there isn't much cooperation, energy, and depending on the nature of the business, that it may be problematic as time goes on. So it's about us being realistic at this stage of where we're at, and in regards to the capacity that people have. And maybe it's where we all invest, and we all put our money into an investment, and then we kind of into a pot, and then we, you know, if someone is skilled in a particular trade or whatever, the proceeds or the profits kind of go back into our organization, into funding, you know, the technology, and funding, you know, leaflets, or whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, to get the message out there. But I do believe that money is key, especially right now. So I think that's my contribution, if that's understandable.
Thank you. Indeed, thank you. Indeed, governments, even these so-called neo-colonial governments, are funded by businessmen who then make money out of some profits or some areas. So indeed, I think investment as a self-sustainability mechanism will be very important if you have to remain true and ever independent in our cause. Because indeed, depending on support and donations, may sometimes, actually, as it was said, he who feeds you controls you in one way or the other. So if we can be able also to have our internal sort of funding, then it can actually have what we call self-sustainability mechanism in our plan to push us forward. So I think that's very important. Thank you very much for that.
Also, Brother Pigeon, also, any of the family who are on the continent and may have farmland, or may have like a business that might need an injection, and, you know, if we can invest into the continent and there are some returns of some kind, then that's another way of us kind of diversifying what we're doing. So we're not just doing one thing. It might be everybody puts in, I don't know, £200, and that money goes to, say, a farmer who can be overlooked by somebody in the group on their patch on the continent, or in the Caribbean as well. And sorry. So we're actually investing in the continent in a small way that we can reinvest as time goes on, if it is becoming profitable and it is innovative. But also, so there's that, and also perhaps say a tech project, or any young people on the continent who are well versed in tech, put the message out and get some young tech ready youngsters to build on our social media, build on our brand, build on you know, the technological side of what we're trying to achieve.
Thank you. Already we have a land that we will discuss further on how to assess it, so that we can be able to move forward. And I think that is a very important thing, investing and also contributing, because people can give other facilities, people can give in kind, people can give their time, people can give their expertise, people who have money can give money, people who have like land can give land, people who have houses can give houses. So I think that is the best direction to move forward. And I really appreciate what you've said. We will have to look at that, and we also included it. And also branding is very important, because I think also Brother Steve is saying, even in the chat, no matter what we do, the success is how we brand it. The success is how we publicize it. Because if we don't, then it will only be controlled to us. And we did this. I remember we were able, from my side, I was able, through the support of friends around, to raise almost over £1,000 for 1 week, within 1 week, to support my travel, which means with the proper visibility and branding, whatever we want to achieve in the scope of Pan-Africans is possible. Just that we need to be organized enough towards that direction. So thank you very much for that. And I do really appreciate that. Brother The King Mauli, I'm back to you. Are you able to speak? If not, I'll be going around Joseph, Brother Joseph, welcome. I haven't known how long you've been around, but kindly come in and share that you're thinking, now that Maul is not that.
Yes, revolutionary greetings to everybody. I did came in a little bit later, maybe about half on the hour, the first hour. First of all, let me say that I'm still not satisfied with the attention we gave to health, but notwithstanding that, I would suggest that going forward, even as we think about setting up committees and so on, and in the light of some of the ideas that came up thus far, that we consider the legal status of the CSG, so that at least whenever we do something, there's a legality of it. So we need to do that so that whether we think about registering the CSG as an entity, so that whatever we do would comply with some level of law. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that most of the laws are colonial.
Okay, proceed.
In terms of the subcommittees and so on, I think we made a mistake when we identify spirituality rather than use culture and have spirituality within the framework of culture, because certainly spirituality is part of the culture. And which would take in, for instance, culture, the idea, even sports and physical culture, all of that as a spirituality and so on. In terms of economics, I think it must include the concept of sustainability. And maybe when you talk about fundraising or money for finance for the activity of the group, maybe it could be centered within the economic, thinking about economics and sustainability. In terms of we have military, I would think that we should consider having, and somebody raised the issue, sovereignty. I mean, somebody raised I think one of your speakers, your special speaker, raised the issue of sovereignty. Sovereignty, military, and governance and so on. These things should go together. And rather than having little committees, it should have those themes should be as broad as that. In terms of, there's another thing I have to say, which I'm getting a little murder now. But if we put, even in education should also consider, and I think Sister Tapawa mentioned, dealt with some of the issues. But I would venture to say, we need to think be outside the box, outside the frame of what we call education. There's some very interesting books and even TED Talks and so on that challenge the very notion of education and what it has been doing, not just for colonizing our people, but even the entire world. I mean, for example, Professor Ken Robinson have said, not Professor, but Sir Ken Robinson have said that the education system that is employed by and large now is an education system that was meant for the industrial age. So we have a system where people are working within a context that doesn't exist anymore. And second, before I stop, we need to think about, for instance, making learning a lifelong thing. So, for instance, children, becoming responsible, not from a custodian or obligatory position, but from a point of view that they would eventually grow up and be the custodians of the society, that they learn, as in Japan, to do things that we are paying people to do, but they will do something that would enable their learning and also their ability to take responsibility, which by and large we have not, and which used to exist in traditional and African society. I'll come back if there's time for me again, because there's some other thing I'm missing. Oh, finally, the emphasis on money, finance. I think apart from the legal status, I would add that we should focus more on commitment, first of all, because if you're not committed, you could set up an entity that doesn't work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Brother Kwame will discuss on such aspect of legal entity or legalizing the processes. But I think as Brother Kwame also had listed or said before, we are looking forward to be part of the Pan-African grouping for force. actually we are calling for unity for action. And yes, as you said, there will be need for some legal setup on how whatever resources coming in is mobilized or channeled, but rather we are in as a class that is trying to actually bring that aspect of all Pan-African organization moving towards action oriented. So irrespective of where we are, how can you come together for action? And Brother Kwame will speak to that legality later, and I know you'll do that. So let me get to Sister Shazda. I had the call on your name sometimes back. So far, 10 people have spoken, so I'm still having 5 people to go. And as we promised, everybody should have a chance to speak. Sister Shazda, are you able to share something with us?
Hello.
Yes, greetings.
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 Yeah, sorry, I missed out a lot of this because I've been preoccupied. So what's the question?
Okay, I'll brief you, and then you can take time and come back to it later. We in the last weekend we discussed about Africa Liberation Day as we mark Africa Liberation Day. When we looked at 6 sectors of our society, which is education, economics, health, politics, military, and spirituality or religion, to assess whether they are liberated. And out of that conversation, we realized that they are not yet liberated. And therefore, today we've set up this session to discuss what is the roadmap towards liberating our society. What do you propose should be done, or what should we do moving forward? Maybe we can work or start working on it within 1 year time so that the next Africa Liberation Day finds us as there's something going on, not marking liberation without action. So we are looking forward to people to come in and share with us what do they think is a practical way that, or practical solution that we can take or put in place in order to realize our liberation as a people.
Right. Yeah. I think, yeah, start with the self, which is to educate yourself, work towards decolonization of the mind. What else? Yeah, did you mention economics?
Yes, yes.
Right. For me, I think with economics, I think it would be an idea to avoid paying into a colonial system, not colonial, capitalist system, because I think if you're starting to plow money into this capitalist system, it's like it's causing us harm as it is. So by plowing more money into it, it's just like, we're just recycling it, recycling the violence, so to speak. So I think we should start up a separate economic system. Again, spirituality, I think that is important. Yeah, I think every African on this planet should be studying spirituality. And I can't think of anything else, to be honest. Yeah, my mind's a bit blank at the moment, but yeah, I think with the economics, we need to try and come out of this capitalist system, start a new system. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I really like that also, because yes, as we even look forward our action towards implementation of what you have, are we going in terms of looking at economics in terms of liberation? How do we liberate it? Are we going to succeed with their system, or what do you need to do in order to attain what you want within our system, things that conform within our principles? It's a good thing to actually brainstorm on, or in regards to that. So, Sister Sharon, unless it's burning, you can come in, so that if it's a follow-up of what Sister Sharon is saying.
Yeah, it is. In regards to spirituality, can we have, because obviously we have like the Yoruba culture, we have the Dogon, we have Benin culture, spirituality. Like, how do we kind of funnel spirituality so that when we're teaching our young people, there is a kind of a funneled outcome as to what we should be teaching them? Or do we just teach them the broadness of African spirituality, Vodun, etc.? Do you see, like, how can we refine that broad term spirituality in regard to African spirituality?
Thank you. This is part of what that committee in spirituality have to do, because we know there are so many organizations or Pan-African organizations that looking at spirituality. But what is our interested purpose is how do we come up with a common document, a common understanding, like how maybe they came up with their common Bible. How do we come up with a common document? And then we can foster or push forward and either teach our kids or teach Africans in terms of building their spirituality. Out of so many Pan-African organizations that do this, how do they sit together and come up with something? That's what we are looking towards. Then now we start mobilizing how do we market it and implement it and practice it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Brother Inumi, I think I'm having two more to go. If I'm all right. Brother Inumi, can you come in? Please, Sister Ida.
Hello?
Yes, Sister Ida, please ask members who have spoken to please share with us their proposals via text before our class is over so that we can have a follow-up with them, please.
I keep trying, but not all of them are looking at the chat. So please, can people look at the chat and put where they would like to go if
Yeah, please.
they're in a group? Thank you.
Please, it will be very important if you have it coming from your mind as you've spoken. Take some time and put it directly as you think it should be, so that you can pick it like that and work on it straight from how you propose it. Brother Inumi, please proceed.
Okay, solidarity greetings.
Greetings.
First, okay. Yeah, I want to apologize that I missed the beginning of the discussion, but and since I've been having issue with network going in and out, so I didn't quite get exactly what the whole gist is all about. But from what I've picked, I know we're trying to set up six working sub-working committees in the area of education, economics, history, African politics, something military, and then spirituality. So I will start from where Brother Joseph, the intervention that Brother Joseph did. I think spirituality shouldn't be standing alone. Spirituality should come under culture. And I also think that spirituality, culture, media, and education should all be in the same portfolio. They are about the building of our superstructure. That is the worldview, how we think, how we see things. So I think they should be bundled together for more effectiveness. And then talking about spirituality, I don't think we should be looking for Africans to speak so long for what it should be about. If we check the meaning of African humanity, we will see that it will give us something that literally means our much talked about Ubuntu. And this is what we need to, and it's already well branded. Ubuntu is a well branded word, and I think the more we push it, the better for us in that area. So having said that, if I'm to choose a group as it is now, if there is no any amendment, maybe I will go for education, or if education, media, and culture are put together, I'll still stay in that group. So that will be my intervention for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Brother Mauli. Let me see who is left out. I'm trying to check again. If in case you haven't spoken, please come in. Or
please, can I ask Brother Mauli if he also wanted spirituality under him? Or
sorry,
is it
sorry,
just...
that was Brother Inumi, not Brother Mauli.
Sorry. Brother Remumi, which groups did you want to go under? Please, could you go to the chat? Thank you.
Okay. Brother Imani, then Sister Tapo, I'll come back to you. Brother Imani, then allow Brother Kwame to actually share if he has gone through what Brother Mafole wanted to share with us, so that Brother Mafole can speak. Brother Inumi, Brother Imani. The King Maule, I see you are on, so I'll come back to you after Brother Imani, if Brother Imani is able to speak.
I'm not able to speak. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Brother Deking?
Hello, brother. Greetings, family.
Greetings.
So for me, spirituality is actually the center of everything, if you ask me. And on every land, the element of the land is what is guarded or fostered to really form the identity of those who dwell at that particular place. So the core value or the core of our innermost person is the spirituality aspect. So once that is tackled, I think the rest will fall in line.
Thank you. Sister Tapua, and then I'll go to Brother Kwame to share with us what Brother Mafuna wanted to share. Sister Tapua?
I just wanted to share on the platform that I support someone, I can't remember who, has written that we need a marketing group, public relations type marketing group, so that we raise awareness of who we are. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's sort of branding or social media marketing, something that can publicize what you do, because without publicizing what you do, it will not be actually possible for you to reach out to whom you want to reach out to. And without also publicizing as you monetize it, also it won't be actually effective enough in your process. So thank you very much for that. I think that's what you're trying to refer to.
Yes, I think we need volunteers for that, people who are competent in that area.
Thank you. So, Brother Kwame?
Yes, Brother Pigeon. You want me to share, Brother?
Yeah,
Brother
probably.
Mafulis,
No, is the one who haven't spoken, then Sister Ozomeka, who has just joined us now. So probably, if it's ready, based on your assessment, we can let us know.
Yeah, maybe let Sister Uzomaka speak, and then we go to Brother Mafole.
Okay, thank you. Sister Ozomeka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right.
Yeah, you did very well. Thank you. That was brilliant.
Okay. You've been on and off, but I believe you've catch up some few things you've been discussing, despite of I think network being an issue for you. Sister, please proceed. And long time, you've lost a bit, so welcome. Sister Eze. Okay, it seems she's having some problem. Okay. She's out again and on. Okay. It's okay. So as Brother Kwame is preparing for Sister Eze? Oh, as
Can
brother.
you hear me?
Yeah, proceed, Sister Eze.
Okay. I was saying I have been off and on. I didn't capture much about the topic of the discussion.
Okay, we've been discussing, as we've said, we've been discussing the way forward in regards to liberation of Africa in terms of economics, education, health, politics, spirituality, and military. What do we need to do as we mark Africa Liberation Day 2024? What can we start a process or do as we will move forward to Africa Liberation Day 2025? That will then we can look back and say, we've started a process, this is where we are, and this is where we should be going on.
Okay. I think education matters a lot, because if our people are not aware of many things, you cannot do much. So I think that education is central to everything that we have to do, especially in the awakening. Not everybody is aware of or know that it's important to have African unity or even Pan-Africanism. Not every person knows, many people know about it.
Okay.
So I think education has to come and be at the central of the liberation movement.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank
yes. That's well noted. Yes, Brother Kwame.
Yes. Yeah, so let me share. Yeah, let me share, Sister, my brother Mafuli's slide. Thank you. Brother Mafuli, here is your slide. Thank you. Let me know when you want me to scroll down. Yeah. Brother Pigeon, is it showing on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Brother Mapule,
Okay.
you can proceed and explain to us what you wanted to share with us in regards to this. Just briefly, please. We are having around, how many minutes? Let me check.
It's 8:44. So we've got
16 minutes to
16 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, Brother Mafole, are you able to unmute yourself and speak to this
Yes,
document?
I've muted myself. I'll speak. I'll not even be long.
Proceed.
I'll not be long because I think I've been given an opportunity to come and make a presentation on this platform on the 23rd.
Yeah, we are looking
So
forward to. Yeah, we've discussed with your team, including yourself and Brother Coco, and we're looking forward to give you an opportunity probably to share this in depth in coming weeks, probably 23rd as a proposal and the rest. And we are also opening up, I think, as part of what you're doing now, is to open up to various personalities or persons from various Pan-African organizations that might want to speak to something that aid our liberation, unification, development. We are actually looking forward to have you coming in so that we can keep sharing this and converse together. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This model I call it the 10 pillars of quality, peace, and resilience. The 10 pillars are the ones that are standing, but they're standing on a foundation, and I want to talk to that foundation that I call stress-competent national context. In other words, a decolonized Africa, decolonized nations of Africa, in order for us to be able to build even the 10 pillars or the 6 areas that we are talking about, which is dealing with the legacies of colonization. And basically, because what I've found out, I developed this model in 2021, and it is described fully in a publication of mine that is with Charamba 2022 with the University of Wits in South Africa. In here, we are looking at how to make the efforts that we want to be engaging in of liberating Africa and uniting it sustainable. One of our lady colleagues here talked about education and Ubuntu, even for young children. And that is precisely what we need to be doing, I think. Need to be recovering our Ubuntu because it is a firm foundation and also provides building blocks for whatever we want to do in our Pan-Africanism agenda. So basically, that is what I just wanted to share because I would need more time to go into the detail. I think that the summary should suffice. Colleagues will be able to share with them. But I have shared the document with you, Chair, which talks to unleashing quality peace. It's not exactly the same presentation that I'll be making on the 23rd, but the core is the same. So maybe you could share it with the rest of us, and then people can familiarize themselves with it so that when we make the presentation on the 23rd, they are familiar with what the challenges are that we are facing and how we propose to deal with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Mofole. Just to remind or ask you, I know you are an advocate and you've presented sometimes back on customary law. Is that right?
No. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer.
Okay, but you presented on African customary law.
No, sir. I just participated.
Okay, I'll look for the person who did that because I think, as Brother Kwame is also very interested, is that we need to have a constitutional forum. And I think is what before I hand it over back to Brother Kwame to take us towards the end of this, is what in the video we played before some of you came in, Nkrumah actually, it was a speech by Nkrumah in 1963 during the foundation or during the organization of African Union. And there are key things that he actually listed that we played a bit to members who were here before. And I think they form the foundation of our action moving forward that can then help us. And Nkrumah actually talked of the following. He said that we are meeting by that 1963, not as Zimbabweans, Ghanaian, or whatever. They were meeting as Africans. And I think today we are meeting the same, not as whatever country come from. We are meeting as Africans. And he talked about a need to create what he called socio-political programs and processes. Nkrumah also talked about to set up a machinery for Africa unification. And he talked about all Africa committee to be set up of experts. And I think that's also what we are thinking to do today. And finally, he talked of an issue to deal with a constitution for new Africa. And I know Brother Kwame has spoken of this, the need to have a constitution or a constitutional forum for new Africa. Then he talked about issues, of course, to do also with the location for work. And it's also part of the thing you're trying to think of, where do you set up a Pan-African Center for this? And I'm also willing and interested in this aspect on how do we have a physical, tangible ground to do our activities as Pan-Africans. Some people may say it's expensive, but you see, they fund IMF, they fund WTO, they fund whatever. They fund everything in order to colonize us. We must also put a lot of our efforts to fund ourselves in the process of decolonizing us. So Nkrumah talk about common market, monetary zone, common foreign policies, which I think, Brother Kwame, it'd be interesting also to look at common foreign policies that may be captured into that constitutional forum, and also talk about common system of defense and also common citizenship. Those are key things that Nkrumah talked of in 1963, and I think they're very essential up to us today. So back to you, Brother Kwame, as you take us to the end of this.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think brothers and sisters have shared a lot. We've heard from almost everyone who has and wanted to and has spoken, and we've kind of got an idea as to who wants to belong to which committee. On the economics sub committee or working committee, we can resolve in the questions around what fundraising model or what economic model we should use, and so on and so forth. Brother Sipiwe, who in a way we've been lucky that he's joined us, and has shared with us a broad range of ideas. So I think, Brother Pigeon, I think we'll go back and look at what everyone has said, bring them all together, look at what committee everyone belongs to, and then we'll then come back and share. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I've been asked to, in what others have said, I've been asked to share on, I think, two things: the question of legalities and fundraising. So the CSG is an initiative of a company registered by Guarantee, which in Africa is called an NGO or non-governmental organization, or a charity in the West. So, and it's registered in the UK, and it's called the Kwame Nkrumah Trust. Sister Myra, who is here, I believe Sister Myra is still here, and Sister Uzomaka are two people that have worked with me in terms of exchanging emails and so on with respect to that organization. It is on the internet, it is available. And so in terms of legality, we are actually a registered organization. It's just that we haven't made a lot of noise about that registered organization. But the thing is, that is in the imperialist nation here, where I am, which is England. What we need is an organization registered on the ground in terms of legalities on African soil. And I have suggested Kenya as a base where we could register one. Others have come to me and said Ghana should also be one in which we should register an organization, because Ghana is seen as a Pan-African, if you like, the root of the Pan-African in terms of inspiration. It's kind of where a lot of the inspiration has come from. So we should register an organization there. So that is something we'll look at. But Kenya and Ghana, certainly. So to cut the long story short, yes, we have a company registered. It belongs to us. What I am looking for our international directors, Sister Shola, who is not here today, but who has been with us on some of our Thursday classes, has been in touch with me with respect to the international aspect of the trust. So we would, in due course, ask those of us here, and certainly those who attend the Thursday classes and who are in the WhatsApp group, who, wherever you are, would you like to be a director of the Kwame Nkrumah Trust? So that's the legality part. Now, in terms of us working together, there is certainly a case for us setting up a legal entity, and we have Brother Pigeon and I and the other brothers have set up an organization called PASOFU, which has come from, it's an acronym for Pan-African Solidarity Fund. And some of the things we have discussed here are precisely why we have set it up. So it can be like a global fundraising organization, a Pan-African fundraising organization that can raise funds called the Pan-African Solidarity Fund. So if we want to invest in I don't know, anything, growing of yam or rearing of cattle or whatever, something that will turn over money very quickly, something that is a cash flow business that will not lock up capital for too long, is something we can decide, okay, let's do that. So that's what PASOFU is all about. There's also the need for us to have a secretariat on the African soil, and PASOFU will certainly be one thing that will look at that. And for me, Kenya is a good place for us to have a secretariat, because that is where the Pigeon is based. And as we all know, he's the most dynamic individual amongst us in terms of workload and work and just in amount of work he does. So having a secretariat in Kenya that will serve us all will be great. And the point I'm making here in terms of legality is that the PASOFU, if registered, then or a PASOFU type organization if it's registered, will then serve as a legal, if you like, basis for our Pan-African work. Obviously, if others have a legal framework set up, we are happy to be part of it. As Brother CCP has said, if, for example, the Pan-African Federalist movement has such a legal entity set up, CSG will quite happily be part of that. We're not in the business of being a separatist, organization that wants to be independent and just work by themselves. No. We are for unification, so we are happy to unify with everyone, anyone who wants to unify for us to do the work. So I think I've addressed the legality side and the funding. Is that correct? Legality and funding, is that correct? Have I addressed?
That's correct. That's correct. Also on the aspect of funding, economics and models, which you said, of course, the economics will work on that.
Yeah, so the economics committee will work on that. I'll be a part of that group because I'm into fundraising and economics. And when we say fundraising, another term for it is winning resources and support. That is a very broad area. It's not just about asking people to give 10 pounds, 2 pounds here. It's more than that. Even when you can set up an organization like a business whose purpose is to make profit and donate it back to the organization or to the cause and so on. So that's a whole area. And anything that we can do to raise money can come under that. But then what it means is that we will not just call it economics. We might have to call it economics, funding and finance, because accountability is a very crucial part of economics. One of the problems why people are reluctant to give money is that they don't trust those they want to give the money to. You see, there's lack of trust. So if we are going to move forward on asking people for money, We must be transparent. We must show that we can be trusted. And that means publishing transparent accounts of monies raised and what they are used for, and so on and so forth. Okay, because of time, I will stop there. So to cut a long story short, the economics unit can deal with the legality part and the funding part, and then maybe we'll also deal with the communication part as well, because we have to have branding. So so I think that is it from me, brother Pigeon. I don't think I have anything left to address. I have shared the brother Mafoli's document in the chat. I will also share it in the WhatsApp group so that everybody has access to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. We are actually, let me check. We are a minute to end of our class. Brother Mauli, we are ending it now. Maybe if you raise it in 30 seconds, just raise it. Then we can handle it later.
Oh, no, I just want to say I would like to follow up with a conversation our other discuss.
Okay. So, comrades, thank you very much. We have actually tested the aspects as a class to be practical, and we started with having a committee working on Haiti solidarity after doing a Haiti session for us. And we are progressing. In fact, needs and expertise are expanding. We're even looking for now to set up like a financing committee that coordinates the resources. We are aligning things like tree plantation, which Brother Joseph is helping. We are going to do sports. We are going to do culture, run for Haiti, tree plantation for Haiti, and the rest. So we have tested this, and this is the right direction to go. How do we become practical enough to move to the ground? So I want to appreciate you all for your attendance today. Whatever has been discussed here, we'll have to take a week or somehow like two to come up with a fine-tuned issues that deals with the various, of course, committees. And we'll also share with you, those who will be interested to come in, join some committees. We are looking forward to committees that actively work. Our Zoom space will be available for such committees to converge or have their virtual meetings. On a monthly basis, we expect to do a general committee follow-up so that we can actually have a follow-up on what are the committees doing. So we are thinking in that direction, and we are ready to work together with you. So feel most welcome. Our class is thought and action. So we've been thinking, and we're also now moving to action. And together is action for Pan-Africa. So type of committees we look forward is a Pan-African committee, where all organizations can come together and start working together. So this coming Thursday, we'll go back to our CSG, which is normal philosophy class. I'm running a Kiswahili class on behalf of CSG, which is an initiative for us as a class to be practical enough in terms of unification of language. It's a free class that all Pan-Africans interested to learn Kiswahili can join us. Now on Thursday, we'll continue the learning. And on Saturday, Brother Emmanuel will be presenting to us things to do with the AU a bit. So we look forward to that, and we are encouraging more Pan-African organizational personalities who might want to share with us something in regards to Pan-Africanism to be free to contact me so that we can slot a session for them. So thank you very much, comrades, and may you have a blessed evening. Brother Kwame?
Yeah, that's it. So thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, good night, wherever you are. And until we meet again, may the forces be with you.